Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wherever and whenever you are, thanks for making today's webinar part of your day. I'm Jeff Rasmussen, host of the Legacy Family Tree webinars, broadcasting to you live from Surprise, Arizona. And again, today is another great day for genealogy. Today we have Gordon Nuttall with us to demonstrate the FlipPal mobile scanner. This is the scanner that everyone in the genealogy industry has been talking about. So I'm excited to learn more about it with you today. But before we begin, just a quick reminder that today's webinar is again brought to you by the makers of Legacy Family Tree, good for both the beginner and the experienced genealogist. And as you can see here on the screen, we're right in the middle of our biggest sale of the year, so $10 off all Legacy Family Tree software, including upgrades. And if you're looking for a great gift, you can purchase Legacy in bulk in 3-packs or 5-packs. And save even more. And for the first time ever, we have free shipping to anywhere in the world on orders of $75 or more, valid through the end of the year. And as always, we've got a lot going on here at Legacy Family Tree. So if you want to stay updated, use your favorite social media to keep up with us. And as I'm looking at the upper right-hand corner of my screen to show you where this is, I see that I forgot to turn off my countdown timer, so let's take care of that really quickly. Guess I missed that part of the checklist. Okay, so follow us on Google+, Facebook, our blog, Twitter, or on our YouTube channel. And then over here on our webinars page at legacyfamilytree.com/webinars.asp is everything that you need to know about our upcoming webinars, and you can watch the recordings of our past ones as well. Right up here, you can print and share our updated webinar brochure, and you can also follow us via Facebook and via our Google Calendar. So our main event today is Gordon Nuttall's FlipPal mobile scanner presentation, and then we'll have some fantastic door prizes to give away, including one FlipPal mobile scanner for one lucky audience member. So don't go anywhere when he concludes. You just have to be present to be eligible. And we'll also announce our new upcoming webinars and then conclude with your questions. And we'll begin with a quick poll question. So get your clicking fingers ready to answer. And you should see on your screen now the question, which do you use for scanning your photographs and documents? And the answers there are the FlipPal mobile scanner, a flatbed scanner, a digital camera, an all-in-one printer, or other. So choose as many of these as you actually use, and I'm sure that this will be helpful to Gordon today as he presents to us. I'll share the results with you and with him here in just a second. And I can see that you're almost all done voting, so let's go ahead and close that and share the results with you. Looks like about 15% of you here today already use the FlipPal, 56% the flatbed scanner, 39% digital camera, and 60% for the all-in-one printer. And Lori's writing in saying that her other is her cell phone. So I guess that would be another way of digitizing different things. Okay, so let's hide that and proceed here and introduce Gordon. I'm pleased to be able to introduce him, Gordon Nuttall, who is the CEO of Couragent, which is the company that develops the FlipPal mobile scanner. Gordon, he's founded 3 other small businesses and 2 nonprofits, and his previous successful innovations have been in digital cameras, desktop scanners, consumer product software, multifunction peripherals, fax, and personal mass storage. It sounds like he's got the right background to have been a part of developing the FlipPal. This is great. So he's been granted 4 patents and has 3 patents pending. He founded Couragent, and I love this, and you can really tell this from talking with him, as a values-based organization with courage, integrity, collaboration, innovation, and care as its foundation core values. And Gordon comes to us today from the beautiful state of Colorado. So everyone put your virtual hands together and welcome Gordon to the show. Hi, Gordon. How are you today?
Hello, Jeff. I'm
Yes.
very good, thank you.
Oh, it's so nice to have you here, and Gordon, every genealogy conference we go to, the Flip Pal is the talk, and so we're really happy to have you here with us today. So let's get started, and we'll just take a moment to switch control of the computer over to you. And as soon as it all looks good, I'll let you. That was quick. It all looks just fine, and we've got some people here in my control panel that are clapping, and there's one drum roll that's come in, and so again, a very special welcome, and the rest of the time is all yours, Gordon.
Thanks, Jeff. We really are pleased to be able to talk with you all on the webinar, and Jeff, about our Flip Pal. We're very proud of this product and how it's been so well received among the genealogy people. It's just been wonderful, and as a company that really takes a lot of pride in what we've worked on, this is really encouraging to see so much response, and I was very pleasantly surprised by the number of people that already have a Flip Pal. We've only been shipping for about a year, so we've made tremendous progress with this product. And so I'd like to just tell you a little bit about myself and how we came to realize how the world really needs a product like a Flip Pal. I've co-founded the Glen Haven Historical Society. Glen Haven is a small mountain town not far from here, about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and it has this really very rich history. These are people that are, down to earth. They're the homesteaders, the people that came to Colorado to, pass that heritage on to other generations. You might compare that to some of the more well-known towns in Colorado, like maybe Aspen, or some of those that were gold mine sorts of towns. But this was really rewarding to me to become very involved with this Glen Haven Society, and we realized there is so much to be shared there. And when we would have our monthly program meetings, people would bring their pictures and documents that they found in the cabin or under the mattress, just all sorts of very fragile old things were just timeless. And we would bring a scanner and set it up in our community building, but that was an awful lot of work to do all of that. And people had to bring their pictures into our community building to do that. The second thing that kind of triggered my mind about what's wrong with the current ways of doing scanning is we were going to produce a DVD for my parents. They were having a 50th wedding anniversary, and they lived in Mesa, Arizona. Well, I'm up here in Fort Collins, Colorado, so what we did is we packed up a scanner and our computer, took it all the way down to Mesa, Arizona, set it up on their kitchen table, and just started taking boxes and boxes of pictures that her mom had around the house, and even pictures off the walls, and all of those timeless things that had been collected over the years. And we just didn't really want to spend all that time sitting at the computer and scanning it, particularly with my daughter's graduation. Many of you have probably done this too, is put together a slideshow or some sort of a photo collage or a photo book for an event like a graduation or a bar mitzvah or something like that. You know how much time it takes and how boring it is to sit in front of a computer to do that. So, the group of us here at Courage and said there has to be a better way. And what we decided was, rather than take the scanner to the picture, why don't we take the picture to why don't we do it the other way around? Rather than take the picture to the scanner, take the scanner to the picture. And when you do that, that's how we developed the Flip Pal. It really is the only solution that is not only mobile, but versatile. It's really easy and quick to use. It's accurate, which is extremely important for genealogists, but everybody that's sharing their memories for others, and it keeps your memories safe. And using those terms, then I'm going to just kind of walk you through what the product is and how it works. And the first thing we talk about is how it keeps your memory safe. And hopefully you can see with these pictures that if you take the lid off the Flip Pal and you flip it over, you can see through this window. And you can see right at the picture while it's still in the photo album or a document or things like stamps in a stamp album. You don't have to take those things off and put it on the scanner itself. Those things stay in place, which is a tremendous time saving, first of all, because I don't know if you have done this yourself too, but oftentimes you try to peel back that yellow plastic that's covering the picture. which is usually very old and maybe yellowed, it can rip, or it can damage the picture, or the picture is pasted in, or it's glued into the scrapbook page or a document page of some kind. And it's really, really hard to take that out without damaging it. So that's why with the Flip Pal, when you flip it over and you put it right on the picture, that really keeps that picture safe. You don't have to mess around with moving it, taking it to someplace else. All of those things where your cherished memories are important. You don't want to risk the safety of those pictures. And hopefully you can see with this picture another example of that. This is a letter from my dad when he was in World War II, and it was in this very old envelope that we found. And I just did not want to give that to somebody else to scan, or even to take it, on a regular wand scanner. So by keeping it safe at my home, I didn't have any sort of a roller feed mechanism or an ADF that would scan that in, and sometimes you just don't want to risk things that are very old with that. The fact that the flatbed scanner has a flat piece of glass keeps the piece of paper from getting damaged. And especially if you have something with ragged edges, you don't have to worry about those edges getting caught on any kind of a roller mechanism. Another thing that we are feeling very proud of is that the Flip Pal mobile scanner is permitted by the National Archives in their policy statement. It does say that flatbed scanners are allowed, but those that have automatic feeders are not allowed, and you really can't take any of these scanners that are wand scanners or anything that puts pressure on the page as it's rubbed across the surface. That can potentially damage these fragile documents. And so the Flip Pal is permitted in those places that are very resistant to any potential damage to the document. Another thing we like about the Flip Pal, this has really been fun, is it's versatile. Well, because of the flatbed, it retains all of that detail. You can put things on there that are very fragile. Everything from newspapers and books that are bound in the binding, albums and magazines, those things are kept securely in place. Another thing that's so cool about the Flip Pal is you can scan things that are not only very small, but also very large. And we include this software called Easy Stitch that lets you take individual 4x6 scans and assemble them into a large original. And here's a depiction of that. Here we had an 8x10 sheet page, that's 11x14. We did 6 scans. And you give that to our Easy Stitch software, and it figures out how to take those overlapping regions, match them up, put it all back together again, and there is absolutely no lines, no indication of the individual scans that is produced with our Easy Stitch software. So this just opens up all kinds of possibilities for things that you would not normally be able to scan with anything else. Here's an example. If you had a picture on a wall that's in a frame and it's behind a piece of glass that's flat, here you just hold the scanner up and you do multiple scans and give it to our Easy Stitch software, and it'll put it all back together again for you. Here's an example of a picture. On the left-hand side, you see there's a picture on the wall and it's framed. Wonderful, beautiful picture. Very old though, and you don't want to take that frame apart or try to take the picture out of the frame in order to scan it. Well, with the Flip Pal, you can do exactly that. You scan it in multiple sections, it stitches it back together, and then you can do some really fun things with it. Now that it's digital, you can crop it. Maybe you want to take a little bit of the yellow color cast and make those flesh tones look a little bit better. It's all high quality digital image of that thing that was sort of stuck behind a piece of glass on the wall. Things that are very small, that have a lot of detail, like coins or jewelry, just put them on the flatbed. Some people like to cover it with a piece of cloth, like purple or black or something like that to give it some contrast. But if you had small items that you wanted to show to other people, send them a copy on email of a coin that you had or a medallion from your high school years, this is really the best way to do that. Here's an example of my son is a Marine, and actually he's just finishing up his first tour of duty. And you can see, hopefully with your screen, that the Flip Pal is fantastic at keeping all of that detail. You can even see the grain in the coin, the metal coin. You would never be able to get that kind of a detail if you were trying to do a digital camera or cell phone or something like that. The detail is just phenomenal with the Flip Pal. So it's very accurate. That high resolution, we scan in either 300 dpi, which is good for almost everything. Enlargements up to 2 times or 3 times, but we do offer the 600 DPI option also. And here's an example of a guy who runs a camera shop and does have a very elaborate camera-based system for taking pictures of very old art pictures. And you know, he took a copy with his best camera equipment and then did the same thing with the Flip Pal and scanned it at 600 DPI, and they were unnoticed. They were completely indifferent. They looked exactly the same, even when he put it on his computer screen and zoomed it way in. And the other part that's important about accuracy is it's not only just the resolution, you know, that gives you the detail, the dots per inch, if you will, but the colors. They want to be very true to the original. Things like flesh tones and colors of objects that people are holding. You want those colors to be just as accurate as the original. And we really worked hard at the Flip Pal to be able to do that sort of color accuracy. We have people on the team that have many, many years working on not only flatbed scanners but digital cameras, so we really know this image science very well. And you'll be pleased with the results. Here's an example of a conservation corps picture, and you can see that this is 20 inches long and about 6 inches high that we did multiple scans on and had our stitching software put it back together again. And now, because it has that high detail, you can take that little section in the center, and maybe that was your dad that was right there in the center of that picture. You've got enough detail to actually zoom in and see that particular part of the picture in high resolution without any changes in the accuracy there. That was really a fun example to put that one together. Here's another example. This would be the land deed in 1868, where we just scanned that deed undisturbed, different segments, put it back together again. This one's about 20 inches long, another about 6 inches wide. And now you can see the left side zoomed in, how much detail is available with the Flip Pal. You can see all of the squirrely lines and the fine print or handwritten notes on both of those things. It's wonderfully detailed. Here's another example. This would be a census record. This is actually from 1920. And we scanned in the whole thing, and you can see the amount of detail that's there. And then, if you zoomed in on just that one little section that I've highlighted in a box, you can actually read all of the detail that you would never be able to get any other way other than the Flip Pal mobile scanner. Here you can see that Minson family, and the head of the household was Louis, and it looks like Matilda was the wife, Lena is the daughter, Joseph is the son, another, you know, that's a big family there actually. That's the 5 daughters and sons for that couple. So the detail is fantastic on all of that. Another thing that you'll find is that a lot of times your pictures that are in a photo album, they're old and maybe faded, or the plastic over the top of it is yellowed. We provide some software that if a one-button push, it'll take and remove any of that color cast that might be there in the original picture and really make it very nicely detailed. You can see on the bottom right-hand side where with that one-button push of our software, it's really converted that picture somewhat faded into really nice quality. And of course, it's better accuracy than a camera. I don't know if you all have tried to do this before. It sounds like a couple of people have, either the cell phone or with a digital camera, trying to take a picture of a picture with a camera. You get multiple problems. One is the fact that it's at an angle, so you get this shape distortion kind of a thing. It kind of makes the baby look like it has a bit of a pinhead. If you're moving the camera at all, you're going to get that fuzziness just because the camera's not held. So then if you try to put it up on a tripod, you've got a lot of work to do to try to get a good quality version of that picture. And sometimes, or oftentimes, you'll get a problem with the flash or lighting effects that are not uniform. So we're really much better than to try to use a digital camera for taking a picture. The Flip Pal is great in that whole area of accuracy. Now, the fact that it's mobile lets you take it anywhere and anywhere. Things that you may be traveling across the country and you're going to be at a relative's house and they have some pictures of you when you were growing up. This is the best device that you can have with you and to take with you just about anywhere you go. It's pretty small. There's no cord. You don't have to have it attached to the computer. It has 4 AA batteries and stores the pictures on an SD card, just a lot like your digital cameras. You know, if you look here at this picture, there's just those 4 standard AA batteries, which allows you to, choose the kind of batteries that you like the best. and it stores the pictures on an SD card. Now this is a standard SD card like you would use on a digital camera. That makes it very easy to use. You can take that SD card then to, there's so many devices that have SD card slots, not only your computer but also printers, DVD writers, CD writers, picture frames, That's one thing that we found was very helpful is my mom got a photo frame last year, but the pictures are all sort of old. It's hard for her to figure out how to download pictures off the web. Well, with this, we can just scan in pictures, store it on the SD card, send her the SD card. She plugs it in the photo frame, and she's always got new copies of pictures from her grandchildren. It's really, really easy to use. You'll be amazed how fast you can take this out of the box and get it up and running. You don't have any software to install. There's no USB cables to, figure out the back of your computer and how to plug it into one more slot that you didn't have before. The batteries are actually installed already. You have to do is pull out a little plastic tab and turn it on, and it's ready to go. There's really nothing to do with the computer that has to be time-consuming for that. We do also include this software that we call the toolbox. On that SD card, there is no CD required. It's all right there on that SD card. We have that Easy Stitch software and the color restoration software I talked about. It also gives you some links to some online resources. The user manuals are in a PDF format that you can print yourself, and also some how to use tips. This is a screenshot of what that toolbox software looks like. You can see the Stitch and Restore color software things there. Down on the left-hand column, you see those are the resources for the user's guide and little tips and tricks on how to use the scanner. And on the right-hand side are those things that are online resources, like how to register your FlipPal and a link to provide customer support. There's some other really cool things there too. And here's an example of what happens when you use the Easy Stitch software. The first thing you will find is you'll want to tell the software which pictures you want to scan. And in this case, there are 4 pictures that I wanted the Easy Stitch software to select and stitch. And you just open it up, and it just goes through a 5-step process. It takes about 30 or 45 seconds to do this. And voila, there you'll get your stitched 8x10 picture, all put back together for you. You really don't have to do anything. You don't have to tell the computer, which picture is the top left or the bottom right. You can scan in pretty much any sequence, Z patterns, up and down, column left to right. It'll all figure it out. It's just amazing how easy that software is to use. The color restoration software is also very easy to use. You just pick the picture on the left that you want to enhance and click the OK button and save it, and it restores all of those colors. Very, very easy to use. Another thing that we offer is a service that's called Pics. Now, Pics is an online service that helps you find digital print services where you upload your scans and then you order different things. You can order things like just getting reprints or enlargements, photo books, calendars. And on the right-hand side, I showed a screen. What you do is you type in your area zip code or the zip code of the people that you want these things to be delivered to. And it'll list for them, a set of 6 or 8 or 10 places where they can go pick it up if they want to, whatever is the most convenient for them. Other stores like Walgreens and other things, they have a photo finishing shop available right there. So you can just take your pictures from your scanner, put them up on Pics, and then email people to say, hey, why don't you check Pics and have those pictures printed for you. And you can pick them up at the store, or they can actually have them mailed directly to the house, which makes so much of a time savings for you all to share your pictures with other people or those documents that you want them to see. This is a great way to do that without you having to go to the store to make copies and put them in envelopes and put stamps on it and mail it yourself. We also provide a little utility that will upload your pictures to Facebook, to your photos folder, and it automatically allows you in. All you have to do is pick the pictures to upload, and it'll take care of the rest. It'll put all those pictures right there up on your Facebook account, which is so popular these days. A close-in look at the control panel. It has this 1.7-inch LCD that you can look at each of the pictures that you've scanned so far, kind of like a digital camera, where you can go forward and back, and that's really helpful so that when you're traveling and maybe you scanned in 8 or 10 pictures from your mom's photo album or a record at a library, you can make sure that you've got those securely stored on that SD card before you leave. Now the LCD will also show you how much battery life you've still got remaining and the number of pictures, and you can do things like set the resolution or the power save mode so that you can better use your battery life. So it's really convenient. You'll be very easy to use, and you see the one button on the side there besides the power button is the green button, and that's the one you press to do the scan. And everything that is needed to do a really high quality scan is done within the flip file. You don't have to have any special software to, set exposure settings and color corrections and things like that. We've worked really hard to make this thing just extremely easy for you all to use. Another very fun thing that people find is helpful is this wireless interface. We work with a company called iFi, and they have this series of cards that when you do the scan, those will automatically transfer wirelessly to the web if you're in a Wi-Fi spot, but also to a smartphone or to your laptop or a tablet computer. Some of these Wi-Fi cards will record the geoposition. So if you're scanning, maybe you're at a cemetery and you're scanning in a headstone, it'll record, that this was at a particular location in the world, and then you'll be able to search and retrieve that later on as part of your collection of things at home. So it's really handy to use. Like for an example, if you were at a library and it didn't have Wi-Fi, you could bring your tablet or your iPhone with you, and it'll actually show right there on the screen just as soon as it's been scanned. It's amazing and so fun to use. It does include a USB adapter, which means what you do is you take the SD card and you plug it into this white SD adapter, and then you can plug that card into any USB slot. That's basically a 2 GB USB thumb drive that's provided with the scanner for you, which those tend to sell by themselves, I don't know, $10 or $15. So that's a real good value. In fact, everything that you need is in the box to start scanning. Not only is there the scanner, but the batteries that are already installed. It includes a 2 GB SD memory card with that USB adapter. It includes all the software. It has a little quick start guide. It's pretty small because there's not a lot you have to learn to get up and running with our little FlipPal, and it does include a 1-year limited warranty. We offer different carry cases in different colors. The ones on the left, or we call it the Deluxe model, it has a nice carry strap and a pocket in the front that you can put other things, maybe a spare set of batteries and an SD card and maybe some other accessories that you want to take with you when you're carrying your FlipPal. And the models on the right are made out of a neoprene. It's a lot like a netbook case that you would find, but it's very handy, perfectly fitted to fit the FlipPal. It helps protect it because you really do want to take the FlipPal with you just about anywhere that you go. Keep it in the car. You never know when you're going to be visiting somebody, and you'll want to have that scanner right there with you. Another very fun thing is a company called Zag. You can give them a picture, and it'll print on a piece of plastic that you can apply, we call it a skin, to the lid. So now you've got a FlipPal that has your own customized look to it. And that's very handy, especially when you're out and about and maybe several people have FlipPals. You can for sure know which one is yours. It gives you that chance to really make the FlipPal something that you're proud of and something that is very personalized for you. So I'm going to change gears a little bit and just talk about some of the ways that people we hear from are using our product, which is really fun to hear. We get these great reviews from people like this one that says, the light as a feather FlipPal pleasantly surprised us with quality scans and super quick setup. For family historians primarily scanning old photos, it doesn't get much easier than this. And then the second article, Dick Eastman wrote, yes, I bought one of these scanners. I love it. And Dick is widely regarded as one of those people that really have a good touch with what's going on in genealogy, and so that was nice to hear that Dick also feels well about the FlipPal. Right now we're doing a blog hop. It's called the Simple Gifts blog hop, and if you go to the web and just put in Google simple gifts, you'll find out a number of people who are doing very creative gift projects this holiday season using their flip pal. And Sherry said, lately, the first sentence out of my mother's mouth has been, I don't see enough of you. Mother lives a mere 2.5 hours away from me, and I really need to make an effort to spend more time with her. So this is where my brilliant, oh so clever idea for a gift stems from. My mother wants to see more of me. Well, with the help of my little friend, Flip Pal, I am going to create a one-of-a-kind gift that I'll bet never ever occurred to Martha Stewart. And here she did these characters with the people's pictures on them that she did with the Flip Pal. Very creative stuff. Another person who's doing the blog hop is Julie. She says, a few years ago, my husband got me a really neat Christmas gift. Family tree figurine with the little hanging frames for family photos and a place to have it engraved. As a budding genealogist at this time, this was certainly a thoughtful gift, but, and I hate to admit this, I never actually replaced the photos with my own family photos until the other day. So I bet people in the audience that are listening in on this webinar are saying, you know, I can think of all sorts of ways that I could be using this. We find this very consistent when we talk to people, how they automatically start thinking up new ways to do that. And maybe we'll get a chance to hear some of those, Jeff, after we finish the presentation part of this talk.
Yeah, sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, let's just have people thinking about that and writing them down, and we'll get those ideas out a little bit later. Here's where I did a slideshow. My daughter was graduating, or actually at her wedding. And what I did is I took the flip pal and I sent it to my 5 sisters, which would be her aunts, and my mom, and they all live in different places across the country. Well, what they did is they took the flip pal, scanned pictures that they had of Jennifer when she was growing up and maybe visited their house. Then they sent it to my other sister, and the next sister sent it to the next one. And in about 8 or 10 days, it had come back from those different people, and I had an SD card now with pictures that Jennifer had never seen before. I put those on the slideshow that we showed at her wedding reception, and she goes, hey, Dad, where did that picture come from? You know, she had all the pictures that we had collected in her own baby book, you know, around the house, but here were pictures that actually were a surprise to her, and that was so much fun. And it's because the split pal is so easy to use, you can send it to somebody and they can be scanning, you know, just right away. They don't have to take out a user manual and figure out how to hook it up and things like that. And it's rugged enough to send in the mail to people across the country. Other examples that we came up with, any time that you have a family reunion or a holiday, graduations, those times when you're collecting the memories for other people and wanting to share them, they're just a fantastic place to bring your flip pal. Anytime that you're traveling, if you're doing library research, you know, and they oftentimes won't let you make a photocopy of a document or a book that's there, this is the best way to get that. Another example was a recipe card. You know, we had one member pass, or her mom passed, and she was going to type in all of her recipes. But, you know, she instead used the flip pal to scan them in, and then what she had to share with other people is not just the recipes, but also all about the scribbles and the little smudges and the handwritten notes that were on those index cards. It had so much more emotional appeal to people when you get to see the real thing instead of something that's transcribed and just printed in a text format. As far as care and maintenance of the flip pal, it's really built well. It's got high standards, and it'll withstand the normal wear and tear that you have. You don't want to drop it, though. I mean, it's like a digital camera. It's an optical device at this pretty high precision. And so to keep this working well, we just recommend that you keep it free from smudges, you know, any dust or debris on the glass. You can use a mild cleaner just applied with a soft cloth, but probably don't want to start pouring liquids on it or something like that that might get into the electronics. You don't want to zap it when you're, you know, charged up with static electricity, or drop it from a very significant distance. Store it in a dust-free environment. You know, you don't want to be putting it out on the table saw in the garage, because dust could get into those areas that are very optical sensitive. I wouldn't put it in a direct sunlight or inside of a closed car. And if you're going to be leaving it alone for a long time, maybe take the batteries out. I think that's just as good. Not necessarily about the flip pal, but batteries, you know, when they get hot, they can expand, and you don't want the chemicals to be leaking out of it. And we do provide Colorado-based telephone support at 1-855-477-FLIP. And it's nice when you got a big question or something that you want to talk to somebody who's really been very familiar with the product. We do that with our Flip Pal. You'll talk to somebody right here in Colorado that has worked on the project and really has a very strong knowledge about it. A couple of frequently asked questions that we have. So our availability right now is limited to the US and Canada, but we're starting to develop our ability to ship to other countries, so just keep an eye on the website for when those are available. It is compatible with both Mac and Windows because we've made it so that that SD card is formatted to the same standard as digital cameras. It's called EXIF. So you can take this card and use any software that you have on your computer just as if it was a digital camera. We don't require you to do anything special. Even though we provide our own software, that software is compatible with any other JPEG file stored on a SD card formatted according to the EXIF standard. Now that 2 GB card, not only does it have the software on there, but it also will store your pictures. And typically you'll store somewhere around 1,200 scans at 300 dpi. That's a lot of scans. A little bit less than that, probably 800 or 850 at 600 dpi. But you could go buy your own card. You know, they're all sizes up to, I think, 8 GB, fairly common these days. Go to the store, buy that, put it in the Flip Pal, it'll work just fine. And if you want to install the software on that, we let you download the software from our website and put it on the card so that then that software is with the card wherever you want to take that. The Flip Pal does not scan negatives or slides. What that would require is a light source on the other side. You know, what we have is a reflective light source. The light is actually built into the scanner. It shines onto the picture and then it bounces off the picture and it goes to the sensor. Well, with a negative or a slide, you need to have the light source on the other side so it shines through. We don't have an accessory yet that would let you do that. Typically, we get, around 150 scans with a set of alkaline batteries. The newer rechargeables, the nickel metal hydride ones, you can get 450, 400, 450, 500. Even with those photolith batteries, those are really nice. They get about 500 scans per set. They're also very nice, lightweight. So I really like the nickel metal hydride batteries myself. It's got long life. They're rechargeable, of course, so now that they're save the environment. So with the availability of standard AA batteries that give that many scans, we felt like it really wasn't necessary for you to have an AC adapter, you know, a cord that plugs into the wall. I know when I go traveling, I've got an AC adapter for my iPhone. I've got another one for my mobile laptop, and you know, it just gets confusing having all those AC adapters. So we felt like it's, you know, the best and easiest for our customers that we didn't provide an AC adapter. And I'd like to wrap up a little bit by just talking about our company. Our company is Couragent. Now that has two different meanings. One is courage, and that is our, as Jeff mentioned, our first value out of the 5: courage, integrity, innovation, collaboration, and care. With collaboration being a really essential part of our company, we find that innovation really comes out of a bunch of people who are very knowledgeable and really enjoy working with each other, where you can just openly share ideas. That's where you get innovation. And that's how the Flip Pal has been born. It's got parts of that one person came up with and another idea from somebody else. We put those together in a way that really makes a really fun product to use. And we feel like we do enrich people's lives. When we talk with people who have bought the product and they tell us the stories of how they used the Flip Pal, it's really, really rewarding for us. We do not only say that the Flip Pal enriches people's lives, but also what we do as a company and as a people enriches people's lives. We are a Colorado corporation, and you know, we are an American innovation, American people that are creating American jobs. And that's really good to see. You know, the economy is really growing as a result of smaller companies coming up with innovative ideas, and we're proud that we're contributing to that, just having been in existence as a company 2 years and now shipping the flip pal for a year, well, a year and now 2 months, we've come a long way, and we're real pleased that we have such great customers and people that enjoy our product, and that it's come a long ways in a short period of time. So that would be my wrap-up of the presentation side of this, and I just recommend that you can go to our YouTube channel. It's called The Flip Pal, and a Facebook page called The Flip Pal, and our website is www.flippal.com. And from everybody on the team, we just really appreciate you all as our customers. The genealogists have been so enthusiastic about it, and it's rewarding to us to find so many people that are enjoying the work that we've done in a way that enriches their lives. And with that, I guess I'll get Jeff to take the audio again.
Well, thanks so much, Gordon. I love one comment that came in that they nominated the Flip Pal as the product of the century. Who wrote this? Somebody else was, Doug wrote in saying it's so well designed and thought out completely for such a new product. And looking at the screen right here where you are, does it actually show you a little tiny digital image there on the side of what the scan looks like?
Yes. In that LCD window, it didn't show the example that I did, but after you do the scan, it will indeed show you that picture as a thumbnail in the window, which is great because we did a model of this without that and did user testing, and we found that when you're traveling, before you leave that place, that might be the one time that you visit your great-grandfather, in Illinois. You don't want to leave without being sure that that picture is secure on the SD card. So that's why we added that little LCD, like a digital camera, so that you can look at that picture and all of the others that are on the SD card. And it just gives you a whole sense of confidence that everything that you need is right there before you leave that one particular spot, or library, or maybe you've taken a trip to Washington, D.C., and you're looking at the National Archives. You're sure that before you leave there, you got what you wanted.
Oh, that's wonderful. And Gordon, a lot of people have written in saying, "Oh, I hope Santa knows what I want for Christmas now." And you just need to know which list you're on, the good one or the naughty one. And so I guess we'll see. Well, hey, I'm going to switch this back over to me really quickly. We've got lots of questions that have been typed in, but what I'm going to do right now is for those of you that have been thinking about your questions, if you do have a question that you want to ask live via your microphone, go ahead and click on that hand-raising button. Only do that if you know that you do have a headset or a microphone, and we'll get to you later on in the Q&A. But this is what we're going to do, announce our next webinars, and the big door prize. I know that everybody is excited about this, and then we'll go right into the Q&A. And if you want to go back and review this webinar or even share the recording with your friends and genealogy buddies, or even send it up to Santa, this recording will be published in our archives a little bit later on today, and there's the website. You all know about that. Our upcoming webinars, let's just take a minute to announce this. Next Wednesday, so less than a week, if you're wanting to learn about tracing your immigrant ancestors, Lisa Alzo is an expert in this. So register for that. And then December 14th, we'll have Maureen Taylor back to talk to us about how to inspire our children to help us with our genealogy. And then coming over to the new year, James Tanner will be a first-time webinar presenter for us, and he'll speak to us on digital books and sites for genealogists. And then one of our webinar favorites, Marianne Pierre-Louis, will talk to us about discovering your Massachusetts ancestors. And I saw on her blog today that she actually wrote an entire article with step-by-step pictures of using the Flip Pal. So very timely, Marion. And then she'll be back a couple of weeks after that for 10 brick wall tips for beginners. And then Thomas McKenty, another of our favorites. Are you ready for the 1940 U.S. Census images? Sign up for one or for all of these today, and as the time gets closer, we'll remind you of the webinar. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Okay, so can I have a few drum rolls out there? We're going to start out with our big door prize of the day, and thanks to, how do you say it, Gordon? Couragent. Did I get that right this time? Couragent, yes. Okay. Great name.
We actually say it two different ways. If you say Cur-agent occur, the derivative of that is heart. And so we believe of ourselves as being agents of heart.
Yeah, it
So
sounds...
the name actually has two different meanings. Yeah.
Oh, sounds like a great company to work for. Well, I found one of these quotes from Benita, and what she's saying right here is what a lot of our webinar viewers have been typing in. They're saying that it is easy right out of the box. Has everything I needed to try it out immediately. The scans are perfect. The software for stitching and color correction worked really well and are very easy to use. So thanks, Benita, for that comment. Here's the pricing. $149.99 is the regular price. And Gordon, will you remind us what all is in the box? Does it really have everything that you need, or do you need to go and buy some other accessories?
Well, it has all of those things that I mentioned. So it does have an SD card and that adapter, as well as the batteries. And then those accessory cases are extra.
Okay. And we've got a special webinar price of 10% off, so that brings it down by $15 additional there through Monday, December 5th. And there's the website there. And looks like, oh, I do have a whole bunch of drum rolls and a huge drum roll from Barbara. I think that you're ready for this, and so let me go over to our door prize picker. And congratulations if your name is Pat Kuhn. So congratulations to you. All of the rest of you, you're still winners, and I'll show you this in just a bit. So for any of our door prize winners, just check your email. Make sure that you know your blacklisting or your spam filters is not preventing legacyfamilytree.com emails from coming to you. And anything else I wanted to say about that? I think we're good. Here's the website. So if you go up to legacyfamilytreestore.com, just click right here where it says Flip Pal Mobile Scanner. And while I'm thinking about that, let's make sure, I'm going to paste all of those links directly into your control panel. So you've got that there. So you can see here that you have the Flip Pal. Now I took this screenshot yesterday, and so that's the price without the webinar discount. And then below that, this is where you have all of the different colors for both the deluxe carry cases and the standard ones. Okay, so our next door prize, we're going to give away one of the deluxe carrying cases, available in different colors. We had a couple of questions about what they're made of, so I've got that here on your screen for you. There's the pricing for it, also there at the website where I showed you. And so back to our door prize picker, David Williams. Congratulations to David. Santa's being nice to a couple of you here so far. I love the door prize part of these webinars. Okay, our next door prize, we're gonna throw in a Legacy 7.5 Deluxe download only 3-pack. This means you can buy one for you and one for 2 of your friends or family. So up on our website, here's the normal pricing and the regular pricing for 3 of them. You can see it's quite the savings for our special holiday pricing, which goes through the end of the year. And let me get ready to find the winner of this. Looks like Valerie Spongeberg. Congratulations to you. Just a minute as I write down your name. And I think my next slide shows you where this is. Yes, back up on legacyfamilytreestore.com, look in the far upper left-hand corner for bundles and gift packs. And here's where you've got the different 3-packs and the 5-packs below that. Okay, enough for the advertising. Well, I guess we continue with the advertising. No coupon needed for the rest of this year. Nearly everything is discounted. That means our software, our add-on software, webinar CDs, training videos, how-to books, and more. And again, free shipping to anywhere. That's not just U.S. and Canada. That's for the entire world on any orders $75 or more. I guess that would make the Flip Pal have free shipping as well, since that qualifies there. Okay, here we go. So the Q&A session, looks like I do have some hands raised. So those of you with your hands raised, just be ready. I'll open up your mic soon. You're also welcome to continue typing in your questions for Gordon. And I think tell me if I'm wrong, Gordon, but I think you've got time to be with us for as many questions as they might have out there. Let me know, though, when you need to stop. And also, Gordon, if you ever want me to switch control of the computer over to you, please let me know. If you want to demonstrate anything or go back to your slides, we can easily make that happen. Okay, let me just get ready here. I'm going to go to some of your raised hands. So what I'm going to do is I've got Drusilla P and Sandy M here first in the queue. So Gordon, are you ready for the Q&A now?
I sure am.
Okay, very good. Drusilla, I'm going to open up your microphone first. Welcome to the webinar.
Hello.
Hi, is this the Drusilla of Let Your Voice Be Heard?
Yes, it is.
Welcome. So what's your question for Gordon, Drusilla?
Well, not really. Well, I guess one question and then a comment.
Okay.
I was fortunate to get a scanner, get a mobile scanner, being a blog hopper. So I really appreciate that early Christmas gift.
Oh, good.
And I've been enjoying it very much so. One of the things I haven't figured out how to do was to take the top off to be able to scan large photos.
Yes. Drew, then,
Yes.
it does clip right off. The first time, it might feel a little like you want to be careful with it.
Right, and that's what I was trying to be careful.
Well, you're going to be fine. We've tested it in many different ways, and different people take it off in different ways. If you look real carefully, there's little finger holes on the outside edges that if you want to use your fingertips and sort of put them in those, it'll tend to pop off the easiest that way.
Mm-hmm.
But after you've done it once, what I see is people just kind of grab the top of it when it's sitting straight up and just pull it right off, and it'll be just fine. The hinges are made pretty strong, and don't really worry so much about damaging any of it. I don't think we've had a single scanner returned that had any damage to that front lid by just popping it right off.
Okay, I'll try that. I didn't want to.
Yeah, I know it's a little bit odd the first time. You feel like you might break it, but you're going to be okay.
Okay.
Okay, Professor Drew, thanks.
It's a great tool. My little young nieces and nephews, ages 2 through 10, they have been using it. They've had a great time with it.
Well, that's good. They like to do things like put their hand on there, or little pieces of toys and things like that they just really get a great amount of enjoyment playing with it. It's so easy to use it. It's easy for them to just pick it up and try things.
So Professor Drew, she also just published a video of her 2-year-old either niece or nephew on her website, so I shared that link with everyone here. So thanks for calling in. Let's go to Kathy, and then Martha Lou, you're going to be next in the queue. So welcome to the webinar, Kathy.
Good afternoon. My question is, what is the best way to scan a photo behind curved glass besides removing the photo from the frame?
That can be done. It's a bit tricky. We have had people ask about this, and you can also use this technique for scanning round things like wine bottles. With the scanner, if you turn it on, you'll see that sensor move across, from the right-hand side to the left. If you take the scanner and you keep that, you kind of rock it, or you move the scanner so that as that light bar moves across the surface, you follow that across the curved surface. And it'll take some practice. Try it a couple of times, and just as you get a little bit more experience, you'll find that you can actually track that bar and follow the curvature of the frame as that bar is moving. Or with like a wine bottle, actually roll the wine bottle across this flat surface and push the scanner at the same rate, and you'll find that you can get some pretty close examples of that.
Okay, sounds very interesting. Thank you.
You'll try it out, and it takes a little bit of practice, but I think you'll get some pretty good results.
Thanks for your very yes, very interesting question. I hadn't realized that that could be done. Gordon, I'm going to go over to one of our the questions that have been typed in, and then we'll go back to the lines. Question from Mike. Mike says that he read that Easy Stitch will only output an image at 300 dpi, even if the original scans are at 600 dpi. Can you comment on the DPI settings?
I believe that as the computer memory is monitored, the Easy Stitch software will downsample or decrease the resolution so that you get a reasonable size picture. You can imagine that if you've got a picture that's, I don't know, 30 or 40 inches wide and 12 or 14 high, it's going to be a very big file, and it's probably going to overload your laptop's internal memory. So the Easy Stitch software compensates for that by reducing the resolution of the picture.
Okay, very good response there. And then a related question then, a lot of people have asked about how many images you can get on your 2 gig card, and I think that you addressed that. But what is the file type of the images as they are saved? JPEG or TIFF or any other choices?
We do a JPEG with very low compression. So the image quality is very good, and so that's the way we went about that. It's just to stay with the standard digital camera format and store pictures as JPEGs.
Okay, that's good to know that you use very little compression. That's good news for our audience here. And then one more written question here from Marnie this time. Is there a limit to the number of images that can be stitched together?
I have not found that limit yet myself. It's probably going to be mostly limited by your computer's internal memory. Because you can imagine if you're starting to get upwards of 30 or 40 different scans, it's going to take a lot of memory in your computer. Now, we've done pieces of posters and things like that are 30 inches by 50 or in that range. And it seems to work just fine. So it'd be interesting to know if somebody has run into a limit on that. We haven't heard from our customers what they are.
Okay, very good. Let's go back to the open airways here. We're going to go first to Martha Lou, and then Ted and Glenn. You're also in the queue here. So Martha Lou, welcome to the webinar.
Thank you. I enjoyed it very much. My question was answered several questions back about the curved glass. I have 4 pictures that were made in the 1800s that are in the curved glass frame, and my aunt will not let me take them out, so this would solve the problem.
Oh, perfect. Thanks for calling in and letting us know about that. I'm glad that it will work out for you. Let's go to Ted, and then Glenn, you'll be next. So Ted, welcome to the webinar with Gordon. Okay, Ted, we're not able to hear you. I'll close your mic back, and maybe you can check on that. Let's go to Glenn. And Glenn, welcome to the webinar. Okay, well, while Ted and Glenn are checking their microphones, next in the queue will be Mary and John. But let's go back to a question from Deborah that she's typed in, and she's wondering. Well, Deborah and many others, Gordon, have asked about, can you use the FlipPal for taking digitized images of with a microfilm reader? So if you're looking at the document from the microfilm reader, can the FlipPal digitize that?
We have found a way to do that, and I think on our website there's a frequently asked question that will give you a little bit of guidance on doing that. And to tell you the truth, I'm not up to date on how that worked out.
Okay.
So go to our website or call our support line, and they can guide you to the step-by-step procedure to get good results for that.
Very good. And speaking of your support line, we've had a few comments come into my queue here saying that it appears that you guys place a lot of emphasis on having good support. So anytime that I can't remember their name, but anytime that they've had to call up, you guys have been very responsive. So very good to hear. Let's go to the live questions. This time let's go to Mary M. and then John M. So Mary, welcome to the webinar with Gordon. Okay, let's give John M a try. We'll open up your microphone. Hi, John. Are you out there in webinar land? Well, all right. We've got two more hands raised, Dennis and Rod. So both of you, actually, yes, Dennis and Rod, both of you get ready and make sure that those the volume's up on your microphone so we'll be able to hear you. Let's go now to a question from Fran. Fran asks, can you zoom in on the Flip Pal, or do you have to transfer the photo to a computer to do any zooming?
We worked on making this Flip Pal very easy to use, so we decided, you know, it's probably best to let people zoom in on their computer rather than on the device itself, because really you've got a big screen there that makes the zooming more effective. And, you know, there's so many things that you can add to a device to make it more difficult to use. You know, I've got a cell phone or an iPhone that I don't know that I can even figure out how to use half of the things that it can do for me. And I'm pretty, you know, gadgety kind of a guy. So we purposely designed the Flip Pal to be very simple to use and not put too much into it. And really the research that we did said to do a very good job of zooming, you really need to have a big screen on the computer anyway. So we purposely decided not to put that in.
Okay, very good. Here's a question from Patricia. Patricia says, how can I scan 30 different matted wedding photos from the late 1800s and early 1900s? Let's see. The pics are not removable from the mats, so there's probably a small gap of 1/16 inch or so between the actual photo and the scanner. So having said that, Gordon, Patricia says that she's afraid that since the photo is not perfectly flush against the scanner, the photo will be a little bit fuzzy or out of focus. Can you comment on that? Is that little gap a problem, or can you get it flush?
Well, she brings up a very good point, and I'm glad that we did get a chance to talk about that. It does need to be flat. You know, if you have rounded objects, you'll see that as the object gets further away from the glass, it gets more and more fuzzy. So about 1/8 of an inch is what we consider to be the depth of focus for the optic system. If you start to get further than that, you will start to see it getting less and less focused. But from her example, it sounds like there may be little cardboard corners or things that are you know, keeping the scanner from fitting exactly on the surface. That's probably okay, as long as it's fairly uniform. You don't want it to be crooked, you know, up and down crooked, like where one side is 1/4 of an inch and the other side is 1/16 of an inch, something like that. You definitely want it to be flat, but what she was talking about, 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch, is going to be pretty good.
Okay, very good. Question now. Go ahead.
Well, that probably applies to pictures that are in frames, you know, like that example I showed where a picture was on the wall and it was behind a piece of glass. You know, that glass really shouldn't be more than a typical piece of glass that's in a photo frame, you know, 1/16 or, you know, up to 1/8 of an inch. If you start to get frames that are, you know, maybe several layers of matting or things that are causing the photo to be further than that away from the scanner flat bed, you will start to see some things going out of focus.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the very detailed explanation there. I see some hands being raised, first from Sandra and then Mary Ann. Just double check to make sure that that's what you intended to do, and we'll do one more question here for Gordon, and then we'll go to your calls. Marilyn is asking, and a few others have asked this, do you have any plans to make it, to add the ability to, for the AC adapter to be able to plug this in rather than just solely the batteries?
We've decided not to do that, and we hear that quite often. But you know, with the battery life of the rechargeables being 450, and I would suggest just buying an extra set of batteries and a charger so that you have an extra set of batteries to pop in right away, and you really don't have to have that AC adapter with you. And you know, there are pros and cons to that approach, and we've just decided that we really don't want to provide another AC adapter for you.
Okay.
I think that the rechargeable batteries, we're just really pleased with the low power consumption that we've already gotten. You know, if you're using alkalines, those, you know, being throwaway kinds of things, that wouldn't be a good choice if you're doing many, many scans. We've had people tell us they did 1,400 scans in a day and a half, and they did that the entire time while they were sitting in front of the TV, and they just did it while they're waiting for the commercials to finish.
I love it.
So that actually made a fun event out of something that I can't imagine sitting in front of a computer or being tethered with a scanner to a wall socket for that long of a time. I mean, my goodness, but that was quite an accomplishment. But they were actually quite enthusiastic about it. So this is the most fun I've had for a long time.
Oh,
There's
very good
something
story.
about this. It's also very fun when you get people together, like at the kitchen table at a holiday like Easter, and people bring their pictures, and you sit around and you talk about them, and everybody says, oh, I want a copy of this, and I want a copy of that one. Well, it always happens that you get back home and you forget who wanted which copy of which picture. But if you had your flip file with you while those pictures are being passed around, you can pop them on the scanner, push the button, have that picture stored on the SD card, and then everybody gets a chance to share their pictures without actually having to take them, to someplace and make copies. So that's really a fun way to share pictures. It's not only do you get to see them one time, but now you've got a chance to store them digitally on your flip file and share them with other people right away.
Very good. And speaking of the SD cards, we've got lots of questions here about that. You mentioned that we can use any SD card that we want to, but if we want to have that, the software on it, we can go to your website to download that software for our own SD cards. Is that right, Gordon?
That's right. To be able to download the software, though, you'll have to have your scanner serial number.
Okay.
And that's the only thing that you'll need we just need to verify that you actually are a owner of the scanner, because that Easy Stitch software, that's quite a value.
Yes.
That is some very sophisticated software that we're providing as part of the hardware, and we need to make sure that that software is not being given away for free to other people besides flip file owners.
Yes.
So that's why we ask you to have the serial number from the back of your scanner ready when you go to the website to download the software.
Okay, very good. Let's go to our live callers. First, I'll go to Sandra J, and then we'll go to Mary Ann. So welcome to the webinar, Sandra.
Hi, how about placing a slide on a light box? Could you photograph it that way, maybe mask it if necessary?
Actually, that's a very good suggestion, and I would bet that does work. It's very similar to the flip pal. It'll scan a TV screen, right? If you were to hold that up to a TV screen, and either a TV or your laptop screen, it'll scan that. And so that's a great idea. You might have to adjust the intensity of the light source, but that would probably work quite well.
Okay, Sandra, thanks for the wonderful suggestion. Let's go now to Mary Ann. Hi, Mary Ann. Welcome to the webinar. Okay, Mary Ann, check. I'll leave your hand raised here and maybe you can check that microphone. Your settings. Okay, Gordon, here's a question from Kay asking about the Mac. Will this work with the Mac in addition to the PC?
Yes, it sure does. Partly because the SD card, we format that just like any digital camera. So any Mac that can take digital camera pictures, which I think every one of them does, will take the card from the flip pal, and also that Easy Stitch software is usable, or it works fine with the Macintosh.
Okay, good to hear for the Mac users out there. A question from Mitch. How would this compare with a wand scanner? Any thoughts about that?
Well, I do have some thoughts on that. First, we talked about how the flip pal keeps that original safe. Because it's a flat bed, you don't have anything that's scraping across the surface. I don't know if you've ever, or there's sometimes, or almost all of the wand scanners have little rollers of some kind that actually rotate while you're pulling it across the surface. Well, those rollers, they can get dirty and they can leave a little imprint on your picture. Any time that you have edges of a piece of paper or a photo that are rough, they're not laying flat, then that'll mess up a wand scanner pretty severely. And then I've never been able to get my wand scanner, the wand scanner I've been trying, to actually stay uniform. As you drag it across the picture, you get this little wobble effect right, where it's not straight and then it's more straight the other way. And so when you look at the pictures, they kind of look wavy. And, you know, I think it works for some people, but it doesn't work for me. You know, I want a picture that I can make a slideshow of at my daughter's wedding and put it up on a big screen and have it look good. And I don't want her nose to be bent out of shape because I used the wand scanner.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I love your enthusiasm, Gordon. You know, Tess is writing in saying that also some facilities don't allow the wand scanners. I think, did you explain that about the National Archives? They don't want anything touching the documents. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, the wand scanners would be an example of the kind of thing that they don't want touching the surface of those precious documents that have been around for hundreds of years, and they just cannot risk the safety of the original. That's why the FlipPal is approved for use in those environments, whereas the wand scanners typically would not.
Okay. Let's go and try Marianne one more time. Marianne, are you out there? I see you've got your hand raised. Okay, we'll just turn that off for now. Okay, a question from Jane. Jane asks, if you're not happy with a scan, can you delete it from the card while you're working and then retry again?
We don't provide that either as part of that user interface. You know, again, it's sort of the same line of thinking, which is the more stuff you put into the device, the more possible it can be hard to learn to use. And, you know, when you can store 1,200 pictures on the SD card, if you have, you know, even a dozen or more that are not keepers, the ones that weren't good scans for one reason or another, it's no big deal. You can delete those when you transfer them to your computer. But we also found, you know, I have a lot of experience with digital cameras and the design of those. That was oftentimes the worst problem that people had, is they inadvertently deleted a picture off their camera card, and they got home and they found it wasn't there, and they go, oh, shucks. I mean, I was trying to save pictures on my SD card, but the SD cards these days are so inexpensive, and they hold so many pictures, the risk of losing a picture because you inadvertently deleted it is not that big of a deal. I mean, I'd rather err on the side of not providing that capability in the device, and then when you get it on the computer and you can be sure that you got it on the computer, if you want to delete it there, that's probably the better place.
Okay. You know, Christine has just written in. She's saying that she's done over 200 scans just during this webinar right now. And a few others have commented that it's very, very quick making those scans. And so you've got a good product here.
Well, earlier I suggested that one woman had scanned 1,400 pictures while she was watching the commercials. Yep. Well, I hope that's because she didn't really care too much to watch the commercials. I hope they're scanning because they're able to do multitasking better than me, but not because I'm boring to listen to.
Oh boy. Okay. Question here from Carrie. Now, you talked about being able to upload these pictures to Facebook. We've got a lot of questions here because we just had a webinar on Google Plus a couple of days ago. Can you also upload to Google Plus, or maybe a suggestion for the future?
That's an excellent suggestion for the future. I saw that webinar also on Wednesday, and that's an exciting new technology,
isn't it?
And I believe that would be very helpful to provide that, and we'll bring that back to our software developers and see what they think.
Oh, very good.
That's
very good. Yeah, thanks, webinar land out there. Luann has a question. Would you suggest that we get extra memory cards if we're traveling? I guess the thing that I'm seeing here is if you did get the extra memory cards, you just need to make sure to go and download your software onto that. So would that work? They could be using 3 or 4 different cards?
Well, they sure could. You know, you might be, have a card for when you went to the Library of Congress and another card for when you went to a particular location. So it might help you organize your pictures a little bit. But let me also say, you don't have to put the software on the SD card. It'll work just fine in the scanner, the FlipPal, without having downloaded the software ahead of time. It's just convenient because, you know, we want not only the scanner to be able to go with you when you're traveling, but you might also want to be able to do the stitching on somebody else's computer when you're at grandma's or something like that. So that's why we let you put it right on the SD card. It's not necessary. It's kind of a handy thing to have with you when you're being mobile. and traveling around. You don't have to worry about carrying an extra CD with you, that can get lost, or it's hard to install software on somebody else's computer. You really don't want to have to do that. And so that's why we put it on the SD card. But you really don't have to have it.
Okay, thank you. A question from Fran. Are there any size limitations to the metals, jewelry, coins, or any other 3D objects that can be scanned? She's just wondering about the height of these items.
Things that are coins, typical coin height and things like that. Anything that's flat, that's against the glass surface, that's going to come out really high detail. But similar to the discussion that we had about the picture that was behind had little corner edges and stuff, if you start getting objects that are maybe wavy or they're not flat by more than about 1/8 of an inch, you will start to see those areas go out of focus. So, you can try it yourself. Put a pen or maybe a magic marker of some kind on your flip pal and do a scan, and you'll see after it gets about 1/8 or 3/16 of an inch, you'll start to see the fuzziness come in or get out of focus. And that'll give you a gauge of how unflat, how wavy an object could be and still keep the detail.
Okay, thank you. Doug I'm starting to wonder, is Doug on your staff here? He's saying, I nominate Gordon and the Flip Pal team for a Nobel Prize. These people thought of everything. Well, okay, I wonder, who are you, Doug? Doug's had some good comments. I'm just teasing him here. Now, Marla has a question. As you make updates available to the software, such as, if you add the Google Plus uploads, how are they notified of the updates? Do they need to come to your website, or how does that take place?
We have a registration page on the website or a form that will let you be notified. Certainly, if you go, you can certainly register the product. That's always recommended so that you can be updated. And also, there's a contact us page. And then certainly if we have new versions of the software available just visiting our website, there'll be a notice there.
Okay, thank you. Shirley, and one other I saw, is asking about gravestones. Have you heard of any stories or have any feedback about using a flip pal for gravestones?
Yes, we've had very good success with that. It's almost impossible to take a digital camera and take a good picture of a gravestone that shows any of the level of detail that you would want. The flip pal really is the only thing that you can do for that. And it comes out very well. Been very pleased with that. And I mentioned also that one instance where you're using the wireless card from iFi.
Yes.
You'll then record that geographical position. So you'll be able to track back any particular gravestone to the exact, physical location on the planet of where that was taken for. So it's been very well received by those people that want to record those parts of the legacy of the ancestry also.
Oh, very good.
Really good. And yeah, because it's got the light source built in. You don't have to worry about which direction the sun is facing. If you try to take a digital camera of any of those types of objects, it's very, very difficult. If not, you just never get a good, accurate copy of a gravestone with anything really other than the flip pal.
Okay. Just a few out there are commenting, just be careful that the glass doesn't get scratched by a gravestone, but I suppose there's still a little bit of gap in between there.
I wouldn't worry about that too much. I wouldn't put it on the gravestone and then slide it, But our glass is a tempered glass. It's extremely hard. The glass is harder than the gravestone, so you might argue the other direction. You don't want to damage the gravestone by scraping the glass across it. But, certainly place it gently on the surface, but I wouldn't worry too much about trying to keep it a distance away from the gravestone. I would, you might put maybe a little ridge of tape around the edge just so that it's not direct contact. That's actually a very good suggestion. I like that.
Okay. Okay, Lori, I see that you've raised your hand. We'll come to you in just a second. But first, a comment from Paula. Paula is saying that she's uploaded the flip pal photos to a website. to have them shared with her family members. And she says our family can work together to identify the photos and add them from their own collections. And she loved the idea of sending the flip pal around the country for people to add their photos, but she'd hate to miss her flip pal while it was gone. So I guess, Paula, let's invite them to get to know Santa too, and share flip pal that way also. Okay, let's see.
Well, we don't want anybody to have a separation anxiety.
Oh, I know it. Yeah,
sending it to somebody else.
I love that. Okay, I'm going to go and open the Lori's mic. So, Lori, welcome to the webinar. Hi, Lori.
Can you hear me?
Hi, Lori. Yeah, we can hear you now. Yes.
Can you download the stitching program to your own computer, or do you have to have it on an SD card?
Let me repeat that question for the audience. Lori's asking, can you download the stitching program to your computer, or does she have to keep it on the card or the flip pal? Thanks, Gordon.
That is a very good question, and the answer is yes. When you download the software, you can tell the download routine where to put the software. So yes, many people actually do like to take and put the software right on their computer, and we do allow that to download it directly to maybe to your desktop or to some other file. It's really convenient though, because this software doesn't have to be, quote, installed. You know how most software where you buy it on a CD-ROM, you have to go through, and it actually installs it. It goes through 6 or 7 steps, you know, to actually put it in the program files directory and create an icon and things. Our software is so much easier to use. You don't have to go all of that. You can just download it directly to your computer, and it'll work just fine without all that extra stuff.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Lori, for your question. I see Tessa has her hand raised, and we'll get to her in just a minute. But Gordon, Mitch is asking, how long does it take for delivery of the flip pal after you order it? In other words, is there time to do this before the big holidays?
You know, I would be on the safe side and order it 5 days ahead of time. Typically, our delivery time is 3 to 5 days.
Okay.
And if you order it off of Amazon, you could get it faster, but it's pretty expressive. So I would certainly recommend, you know, no shorter than 3 days, but give yourself 5 days.
Okay. Also, go and check our blog, the news.legacyfamilytree.com. We've just recently published the post office's deadlines for on-time delivery. So go and check that out. Now, let's go over to Tessa now and welcome her to the webinar. Oh, I'm having a tough time trying to open her mic. While I'm trying that, Sandra has also raised her hand. Let's go to Sandra and see if she's out there. Hi, Sandra. Okay, I'll give Tessa one more try here. For some reason, I'm unable to do that one. Question here that's been typed in from John. He's wondering if there will ever be a USB port directly on the flip pal. I think you mentioned that you have a USB connection, but have you considered adding it to the actual device?
We did consider that, and we just felt like the ease of use that we'd give with that little SD card adapter that basically makes the SD card what you plug into the USB cord. Then again, we don't like cords very much. You can see from our design that we don't like cords, and we hear from people that they like that we don't like cords. And that's what our approach is with the SD adapter, is let you get that easy to connect capability that USB offers, but without having to have the cord.
Okay, very good. I figured you might say that. Let's just keep it simple. Okay, a question here from Steve. Could you ask Gordon to explain how to scan photos in a photo album where the photos are near the center, especially for the first few pages when they won't lay flat? Any experience with that, Gordon?
I don't know that I understand the question. So the pictures are in the center of the page?
Yeah, and I'm guessing
the center of the album?
It probably in the, like on the if you're looking at the right page of an album and the picture is really close to the gutter or the center of the album.
Yes, yes. Well, you'll notice that the flip pal on the side that's furthest away from the LCD, it's tight. That's where the optical path is closest to the edge. I would take that edge and tuck it into the binding of the album. Okay? That's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is, have you ever noticed that when you have a book that's bound or an album that's bound, when you try to lay it flat, of course that binding wrinkles up, right? It bubbles up. But just take the photo album and hold the left-hand part at 90 degrees. That part that's now the right-hand side, it'll lay pretty doggone close to flat because you don't have that pull from the binding, right? So hold the photo album so that it's half open and tuck the flip pal so that the edge away from the buttons is tucked into the binding, and you'll find you'll get pretty close to that edge that normally you wouldn't be able to scan with anything else.
Okay, very good. Thank you. How are you doing with all these questions? I'm just really shooting them at you, aren't I?
These are really good questions. It shows a lot of interest, and I'm glad to see that.
Yes, and we still have most of our audience here with us. This is great. Lois has a question, and I think I saw it on one of your slides earlier, but maybe you can clarify. Does the Flip Pal have an option to scan in either or both the 300 dots per inch and the 600 dots per inch?
Well, you'd have to do 2 scans. You would, set the setting to 300, press the scan button and scan it, and then change the setting to 600 and do it again. Does that answer the question?
So do you have the option then just to scan it once, just at 600 dpi, or are you saying it's a multiple step process if you want that resolution?
Oh, the 600 dpi, you would set that resolution using the control keys and the LCD. Think of it, I don't know if this person has a digital camera, but oftentimes you can set a digital camera to 1 megapixel, 2 megapixel, 4 megapixel, and you do that before taking the picture. The same thing with the Flip Pal. You go to the control panel, you use the arrow keys to set the DPI to 600, and then it'll stay at 600 as long as you keep doing scanning at that resolution. And if you want to then change it later on back to 300, then you would do that whole sequence again. Just go to the control panel, go to the menu item that has the resolution, and then change it back to 300.
Okay, thank you. A comment here from Carrie. I like this one. Carrie says, I was tempted to buy, but now after this webinar, I will definitely buy it. Why wait for Santa? Okay, I thought you might like that one there. And then a technical question, I guess, from Mary. Are the orders for FlipPal, are they shipped from us here at Millennia or from FlipPal? When you place your order through LegacyFamilyTreeStore.com at the special discounted pricing, yeah, we send that right over to FlipPal, and it comes from them. Did I get that right?
That is right.
Okay. Okay. Now I've still got lots of questions here that I'm trying to work my way through, but I see Lorna has raised her hand, so let's go to Lorna and open her mic and see if you're out there. Lorna, welcome to the webinar. Okay. Let's just keep going. Question from Beth. I guess we've alluded to the speed of the FlipPal, but how quick does it? Is it a minute that it takes to scan one picture, or 5 seconds, or what would you?
It's just about 6 seconds at 300 DPI and about 9 or 9.5 at the 600 DPI.
Ah, okay.
So, yeah, it's actually really interesting when you're going through a box of photos. You would take one picture and put it on the scanner. You press the scan button, and 6 or seconds later, it's ready to take the next one. It takes you about that much time to figure out which of the next pictures you want to scan. Yeah. So you can keep this going just about as fast as you can take them out of the box and handle them, and so it really does go fast. Maybe 8 or 10 per minute.
Okay, well, Beth's writing in that is really fast, so she's excited. Let's see. Gordon, a lot of these questions that people have been typing in, you have gone through them, but here's a good comment from Peggy. She just has a hint for when papers are folded, like letters. And her advice is just to put the paper between two towels with a low heat iron on the upper towel. This usually straightens out the creases for easier scanning, and by using the towels, the paper is kept free of damage like burning if you ironed it directly. Yeah, you want to keep that iron off of anything direct. Well, I see Bobby has now raised their hand, so Bobby, here in just a second, we'll come to you. So let's open up Bobby's mic. Bobby, are you out there in webinar land?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Bobby. Where are you calling from?
Murphy, North Carolina, Blue Ridge Mountains.
Oh, very good. Beautiful out there. What's your question for Gordon?
I'm not familiar with the iCard. Can you explain what the iCard is? The iFi card?
Yes. iFi, it's spelled EYE-FI. And it's a company. That's the name of the company. And if you just go to Google and type in iFi, you'll go to their website. And they are the manufacturers of this wireless SD card. It's really very clever. It has storage, you know, like a regular SD card that you store the pictures of. But even on that card, it has a Wi-Fi interface, complete with the antenna and everything. So what you do is you just take the card and put it into the regular SD card slot in the flip pal, and when you do a scan, as soon as the scan is finished, it'll wirelessly copy or transfer that picture, that scan, to your laptop. And it'll show a little thumbnail on your laptop while it's being transferred. And then, or to your tablet or any place where it has that Wi-Fi interface, which is really handy if you're traveling and you store a bunch of pictures on the SD card, and then you go back home and you turn on the scanner. As soon as you turn on the scanner, it'll start transferring the pictures for you to your computer. Or you can configure those cards to transfer the picture automatically to a photo sharing site, like maybe Flickr or Shutterfly or any of those other places that you might want to put your pictures online. And in fact, you can configure it so that you could walk into like a Starbucks, any place that has the Wi-Fi that's active. As soon as you walk into that Wi-Fi hotspot, it'll start transferring the pictures.
Yeah, those MiFi cards, they're really, really exciting. And I'm actually, Gordon, I'm teaching a digital photos class here next week in Arizona. And one of the things I'll talk about is the iFi card. So very exciting. We've got time for just a couple of more questions here, and Linda's asking, is there any way to, as you're digitizing these photos, to change their file names, or to be able to say that these are Aunt Mary's photo, or do you do that later on your computer?
That really is a good thing to do on the computer. You know, you'll have a keyboard there and everything that, you know, you can see a full version of the picture, and great suggestions is just do that on the computer. And
Okay.
a lot of your software that people use on their computer, they have some sort of a naming convention or a way to tag different keywords with the pictures, and so we really want people to be able to use the software that they already are familiar with on the computer, rather than us require you to learn some new way that we came up with for you to do all of that.
Okay, we've got a comment here from Kay about the speed. Kay is saying the scan actually happens right away. You can take the photo off and put a new one on while the scan returns back to home base. So this also helps if you're holding it up to a large wall photo or a quilt and so on. So thanks for your comment, Kay. And then Larry's asking a technical question. Can you remind us what are the actual physical dimensions of the device?
The area that it scans is exactly 4 by 6 inches, but I showed that on the screen, and I don't actually have those numbers right in front of me.
Yeah.
Let me measure it. Actually, I'll just take them here, and it looks like it's about 10 inches long and about 6 inches high.
Okay.
It's about the same size as a netbook, a netbook kind of a computer.
Yeah.
That's pretty close.
Okay, well, Gordon, we've had comments about the Nobel Prize and Product of the Year, and so it sounds like you really have a winner here, and indeed, this is the product that's talked about at our genealogy seminars. now our legacy family tree users are going to be talking about it where they go. So I sure appreciate the time and the expertise that you brought to our webinar today. And so before we conclude, do you have any final thoughts for our audience?
Well, it really has been my pleasure to be able to talk with people on this seminar, and it's encouraging to hear from people how much they like about our product. You know, it is a labor of love, and in many ways, the value that we have as a company to be able to enrich people's lives with a product like this, it really makes it all worthwhile. And love being able to talk with people that have been either using it themselves or now they want to recommend it as the product of the year. Hey, that's really nice to hear. So thank you for those accolades, and we appreciate that. And the people on the team, you know, we do have 24 people working with us now in the Couragent company, and that's very good growth for, you know, just a year in existence. And it really comes down to customers who really appreciate a product that is doing something that they've always wanted, something that would be available to do it. And here we've come up with that for them.
Well, good work, and congratulations to your team there at Couragent or Couragent. And thanks again for your time. And thanks to our audience around the world. So wherever and whenever you are, thanks for making today's webinar part of your day. And remember, life is short. Do genealogy first. Bye-bye.